country will be on stage at the NPC Women's National Bodybuilding Championships in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The competitors are pumped up and ready to make their push at the Women's NPC Nationals. After days and even years of long hours in the gym, the end of the rainbow is within reach. This is what they've been building for, the chance to flex their muscles and prove their bodies the best. The goal of every competitor is to lift themselves above the rest of the field and walk away tonight as a national champion. From the Broward County Convention Center in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, it's the 1993 Women's NPC National Bodybuilding Championships. Hi everyone, I'm John Walls, and tonight we are going to see 62 of the best female amateur bodybuilders in the entire country. They're competing in the 3 weight classes of women's bodybuilding: lightweight, middleweight, and heavyweight. The winners of those classes move on to the all-important overall competition, and the champion of that has the opportunity to join the ranks of the professionals. Talk about professionals. We have one of our own, the 1983 former Miss Olympia, Carla Dunlap. And Carla, women's bodybuilding, there has been some cloudiness in the past as to what the judges are looking for. Tonight, no ambiguity at all to what they're looking for.
No, John, they've given the women a directive that says they can develop as far as their genetic potential will take them. And one of the things they have to pay attention to is symmetry. So there's no more limitations. They can be the best bodybuilder they possibly can be.
I'd like to introduce to you our third member of the broadcast team tonight, Rick Valente, one of the colleagues of yours on body shaping.
Great physique for body shaping. I love him.
Rick's going to be backstage providing some of the flavor and some of the color for what's happening behind the scenes. So let's now go to Rick, who has more on that. Rick?
Thank you, John and Carla. And Carla, thank you for that compliment. Now, I'm going to be backstage all night. I am going to try and take you into the minds of the competitors. We're going to go into the pump-up room right now and see what the lightweight women are doing. Okay, you might wonder what the judges are looking for. Now, we spoke to the NPC Women's Chairperson, Sandy Ranelli, and we asked her, what are the judges looking for? She's going to tell you exactly that.
Okay, Rick, I'd first like to point out the difference between our junior nationals and our national competition is the level of quality. Our nationals is our highest amateur contest in the country, so you'll see a little bit better quality, muscularity here, and a little bit better symmetry here than at the lower national shows. And joining me today is Etta Shields. She's a heavyweight competitor here. She'll be demonstrating the 5 compulsory poses that the women do. And our first pose is our front double bicep. Etta will start, she will tighten up her quadricep, front of her legs. She'll come up, she'll tighten up her abdominal area, and then she will go into her front double bicep. You'll see the bicep muscle, see her tricep, and also you'll see her chest muscle. And relax. And either side, our next pose is our side chest. And again, she'll start, she'll tighten up her calf, she'll come up, tighten up her quadricep muscle, tighten up her side abdominal, tighten up her chest. You'll see her side delt and her bicep. And relax. Face the rear. This is our back double bicep. Tightening up her calf, come up, tighten up the back of her hamstring, her glute, tighten up her lower back. Then she'll go into the back double bicep. You'll see the thickness of the back, her rear delt, her biceps, and her tricep muscle. And relax. Either side for your side tricep. Again, going to the side she feels comfortable with. She'll start with her leg, tighten up her calf, see the side of her quadricep, you'll see the hamstring, come up, you'll see her side of her abdominal, see the bicep and the tricep, and the side head of her deltoid. And relax. And our last and final pose for the women is the hands overhead abdominal. Again, she'll start, tighten up her leg, she'll come up, she'll tighten up her abdominal area, and her arms will be tightened, and the front of her chest. And relax. And that's our 5 compulsory poses that the women demonstrate.
Thank you very much, ladies. Coming up, we'll start the competition with the lightweight class here at the Women's NPC Nationals. We are back in Fort Lauderdale, Florida at the Broward County Convention Center. John Walls with Carla Dunlap as we begin the 1993 Women's NPC National Bodybuilding Championships. LUANN GARINO, our first competitor in the lightweight class. LUANN weighing in at 103 1/4 pounds from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
When you look at LUANN, you look at the fact that her quads or her legs jump right out at you. Unfortunately, because of the development of her legs, her torso looks a little underdeveloped. It lags a little bit behind her legs. She's going to have to go back to the gym and make a sincere effort in putting more size and depth on her upper body.
So in that case, do you try to sell the legs a little bit more and try to disguise perhaps that upper body? But it's awfully hard to disguise that because the judges can see, as you said on the lat spread, she turned her back to the audience. There's only so much there.
Yeah, she's a small frame person, and I'd say another 2 years worth of training, she'll be able to put some of that size on the upper body that she needs. Right now, what she's going to have to concentrate on in her posing is to downplay a lot of upper arm movements like she just did, because they demonstrate that she's missing a little of that depth in her upper back.
And you want to accentuate the positive and certainly not bring attention to your negatives here. And so LUANN, with a little more experience, as you said, she's only been in bodybuilding for 4 years and got into it just from the fitness aspect of it and had a hard time with the male bodybuilders in the gym at first accepting her, but eventually has won them over.
Gee, I thought that was all gone when I got into bodybuilding. They're still having a hard time with women in the gym.
Her first national meet, the Junior Nationals, back in 1992. She finished first place in the lightweight category then and has moved on here and be one of the top finishers at the NPC National Bodybuilding Championships. This is Sue Price from Redondo Beach, California. Sue, talking about the diet for her coming into this competition. It is very simple, what she can and can't eat.
Basically, I just cut out all fats for about 16 weeks. I start out real easy, you know, just cutting out obvious junk foods, and then I go, after 12 weeks, I cut out bread. After 8, I cut out dairy, and it goes in phases like that. But I never cheat. I never eat fats. And I do aerobics twice a day, starting with 20 minutes twice a day, working up to maybe an hour twice a day if I need it, or it all goes by feel. It all goes by instinct. There's some days I wake up and I know I shouldn't do any cardio that day. There's some days where I just stay on the treadmill until I'm dead.
Wow, what a training regimen. Aerobics twice a day, plus the bodybuilding. I would think she'd be exhausted by the end of the night.
Yeah, I bet she is. And considering that some of her favorite hobbies are baking and cooking, cutting out those fats and the breads and the dairies, that must be so hard to do.
Yeah, she can fry water. That's about all you're allowed on that diet. You talk about the regimen, certainly very, very disciplined it is. Michelle Ralabate, our next competitor in the lightweight class here. Michelle, a year ago, had limited success on this level. She's ready to move up a step this time around.
Last year I took 4th at the Nationals, and my condition was, I was in very good condition. I felt very good about myself. The only thing that I had to work on, one of my weak points, was my waist. And as far as I'm concerned, this year it looks more tapered, and my back is more proportioned. I think this year I look more proportioned than last year. Because of the way I was dieting. My diet consists of chicken and potatoes, and I added some vegetables in there. Cardiovascular, I did probably about 45 to 50 minutes 2 times a day. And with training twice a day, going to the gym, it was really hard, but it was fun. And my boyfriend, Ryan, he helped me 100%. I don't think I could have ever done it without him.
You can see Michelle on stage, so acrobatic and so graceful with her movements. There's a lot of gymnastics in her background. She got into gymnastics seriously when she was 14 years old in high school and then collegiately as well.
Yeah, she's a real athlete. She said something about her waistline, and people would think that that's a very strange thing to talk about, but the waistline is a focal point, and she's right in focusing on that and improving her physique.
Let's focus on Sharon Kennedy now. Sharon from Irving, Texas, and she's a machine operator there, an unusual occupation, but certainly has put her free time to good use as we take a look at Sharon in the lightweight class of competition here. And rate her for me. Now, you look at the quadricep there and the good sweep of the legs. It looks as though she has developed herself fairly well on the lower body.
Sharon has a striking physique. My biggest complaint about her physique is that her calves are a little weak. When you see her turn around, she has good quadricep sweep. You can see in her thighs. They sweep out to the side. She has wonderful thickness from her delts through the middle of her back. She has a wonderful V, which means that from the width of her upper back down into her waistline, it's a very big sweep. I would make a comment now about her hair. I thought her hair should be a little looser, a little more flowing, so it would soften up the look, because here you have this chiseled, hard, detailed physique, and then her hair looks very oriental, looks very sculptured.
You know, you'd think that with all that you have going into this, all you have to worry about, of course, how your body looks, and if you're going to hold water and some other concerns you have. I never really had given much thought to hair, but certainly that has a lot to do with how you present yourself to the judges and how it shapes and tapers your body.
Sure. You know, when you look at the hair, you think of yourself as It's part of your physique, and it's one of those areas that you must pay attention to.
Clifta Coulter, certainly a lot of hair on top of that head. We talked to Clifta about the spit and polish, or lack of, in her routine.
Well, I put my routine together about, probably about a week ago, and I haven't, like, really practiced it yet. So I guess I'll go to the hotel room and, like, get it down to the music now. I tried to change my poses a little bit, too, to make them a little more feminine. Throwing my hip up a little bit more and not making it look as masculine.
All right, now, Carla, we talked about Sharon Kennedy's hair. What about Clifta Coulter here? I mean, you talk about a head of hair. I mean, that certainly is making a statement of some type.
Wild woman. My complaint about her hair is not really a complaint. It's just a suggestion that she pull the two pieces on either side of her face away so that the line is a little cleaner. Let's look at her physique, though. Clifta has a magnificent physique. I've noticed it's softened up from last year, which is what the judges were looking for. When I heard them do an athletes meeting, they said they're looking for separation, but they're not looking for cross striation. So they're asking the women to soften up just enough and look healthier.
And that's such a fine line, though, because it's so difficult to pinpoint yourself and really prime yourself to be in that kind of condition for this competition. She got into bodybuilding, watched a Ms. Olympia contest a number of years ago, and liked what she saw and decided, hey, I want to look like that, and Clifta's certainly well on her way. Our fifth-place finisher in the lightweight class, LUANN GARINO of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Clifta Coulter finishing fourth place from Palm Beach, Florida. Our second runner-up was Sharon Kennedy from Irving, Texas, and the runner-up in the lightweight class of competition, Michelle Ralabate from Indiana, Pennsylvania. And our lightweight champion, Sue Price from Redondo Beach, California. She is now joining Rick Valente backstage.
Sue, come on in. Well, that was incredible. Congratulations. Okay. Now, what are you going to do for the pose down?
Well, I hadn't thought about it before. I think I'll just go in there and have fun and see what happens.
All right. Now, what about tonight after dinner for dessert?
Well, I think I'm going to have dessert before dinner to make sure I have room for it, but I'm going to have everything.
All right. Well, go get them. Good luck.
Thanks.
Back to John and Carla.
Well, certainly these competitors are hungry for a championship themselves. We'll move on to the middleweight competition when we continue at the Women's NPC Nationals. Welcome back to the Broward County Convention Center here at the Women's NPC National Bodybuilding Championships. Before we continue the competition, let's go backstage to Carla Dunlap.
The Schwinn Most Improved Bodybuilder Award is being presented by Kevin Lamar. Kevin, I know you're a former pro football player, but you're not training like a football player anymore. What do you do to stay in shape now?
Well, now because of the time requirements, I just don't have the time to put in. But now I still lift and try to stay in shape, and which helps us to design products for people that just maybe want to lose weight or keep in shape, but also use bodybuilding to help design the products that are going to go against the enthusiasts in the health clubs and the gyms around the country.
All right. Well, let's bring in our winner. It's YVONNE VAZQUEZ. Hi, YVONNE.
Hi, Yvonne. We'd like to present you this year with Schwinn's Cycling and Fitness Most Improved Female Bodybuilder for 1993.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I'd like to say thanks to Schwinn for presenting me with this Most Improved Bodybuilder of the Year award.
You look fabulous, and we've spoken before. Listen, I know as a bodybuilder, I used certain means to visualize, to improve myself. What do you use to really get you psyched up in the gym, to get you going, to make those improvements?
Okay, basically what I do is a lot of visualization. I'll take the bodybuilders. I use whatever body part I feel needs the most improvement and visualize someone whose body part I would like to be like. For instance, Linda Murray and Jillian Hodge, I picture their back as I'm doing all my back movements. Same thing for delts. I usually visualize Linda. And also it's a lot of planning. The night before any particular body part, I'll carefully plan out what I'm going to do.
That's a great program, and I'd like to congratulate you. This is YVONNE VAZQUEZ, the winner of the Schwinn Most Improved Bodybuilder.
And congratulations indeed. Moving on now to the middleweight class of competition. Our first competitor will be Rachel Mathias. Rachel is from Indianapolis, Indiana. She has a powerlifting background. There's no question that it was weightlifting that got her into the bodybuilding sport. She was the 1991, 92, and 93 powerlifting champion and was the world record holder in the bench press. 298 pounds is what she lifted, weighing 130 pounds. That was her body weight. So really, what a tremendous ratio that is, and it certainly has paid off for her, Carla, in her development, certainly in the upper body in bodybuilding.
Rachel Mathias. Rachel used to be a powerlifter, as you said, and you'll never guess who one of her biggest idols is.
I would guess Bev Francis.
Gee, right.
Of course, the fine professional who's been a 2-time runner-up in the Ms. Olympia and a 3-time second runner-up in Ms. Olympia, now semi-retired.
Well, she was something like 8-time powerlifting champion, world powerlifting champion, and you can see why Rachel would embrace her as her idol. A very successful change from powerlifting to bodybuilding.
But as you said, there is a different regimen and a different routine, certainly, that has to be followed here. Our next competitor, Jody Friedman. Jody is from Venice, California. You want to talk about the bodybuilding capital of the world, or you want to see some muscle? Head to the beach.
That's right. They still have the old sand pit there that they all train in. And you can go out there at any time and see huge, huge bodybuilders training.
Her last competition was the 92 USAs, and she says she wanted to take time out from that because she was burned out. She wanted to eat normal food, have some ice cream, you know, kind of pig out for a little while. And so you need that. You need to break from the routine because it is such a strict regimen you have to follow.
And that's really one of the things that every bodybuilder ought to pay attention to, is that sometimes you need a break from the gym. But one of the things that I noticed about Jody is that in the lineup, she stood out as being very symmetrical, something that really is a key point. When judges look at that lineup and you stand out either because you have very thick muscle or you're very symmetrical, it's a good point for you because they're going to keep looking at you.
Jody had a difficult time adjusting to life in Venice, as I'm sure a lot of people do who first move out there, but she learned to like it a lot and has now made that her home. And Jody Friedman with a fine routine. Our next performer, Mauro Bachachian, in the middleweight class. Mauro, talking about what a substantial improvement she made from last year to this year, really feels good about her physique coming into the competition.
Well, last year I competed. I was a little bit smaller in weight, about 3 pounds smaller when I weighed in. And my back didn't have the flare that it has this year from the front. So I feel this year I'm a little bit larger. I was 125 when I weighed in. And I did something a little bit different. I drank water right up to the day of the show. And I really feel it made a big difference. And I ate. I made sure I ate after my weigh-in. I think most women are afraid to eat and drink water once they weigh in. They're afraid they're going to smooth out, but they don't realize the shock that the body has just gone through, making weight and leaning out. So now it's time to fill all the muscles out with glycogen.
A very good point Dr. Bajachian made. She's a doctor of chiropractor. And again, many of these women, they get on stage, they're very dehydrated. The body has a very high ratio of muscle to fat, and you need to keep it hydrated. You need to keep glucose in your system so that you don't fade. So many times you see women, I've been on stage where women have actually passed out. Very important to keep that body hydrated.
I would think it's awfully hard, though, as much as she may feel comfortable with taking that approach, but stepping out of the convention and deciding that you're going to be a little experimental and breaking from the routine.
No, she's not. She's doing the right thing. That's something that the other folks ought to step out of what they think they're doing and do what Dr. Bajachian is doing. I've known her for probably 15 years or so, and she has made phenomenal improvements.
Well, we'll continue with the middleweight competition when we come back from the Broward County Convention Center at the 1993 Women's NPC Nationals. In Fort Lauderdale, Florida, at the Women's NPC Nationals. Before we go back to the competition, let's sail backstage to Carla.
The General Nutrition Center's Symmetry Award is being presented by Jean Behage, Vice President of Marketing for the company. Jean, we've talked several times before, and I know that you're a runner.
Yeah, I just completed a race, and I know the importance of the training and also the accolades of the award, and that's what I'm here tonight to present the Symmetry Award.
Well, let's bring the winner of that award in. It's Jody Friedman. Jody, come on in.
Hi.
Hi.
Jody, on behalf of General Nutrition Centers, the authority in sports nutrition, I'm here to present to you the most symmetrical bodybuilding award. You know, recently I saw a statement that really is sort of an accolade of what you did tonight. It said, the body is a temple, build it well, and all will worship it. Tonight, everyone is worshiping it tonight, Jody. Congratulations from General Nutrition Centers.
Thank you very much. I'm really flattered that you've chosen me for this award, and I appreciate it. Thanks.
Well, you have to appreciate the fact that most of symmetry comes from genetics. But there are things that you can do in the gym, and I know that you train hard. What do you do to make sure that the genetic gift doesn't get out of hand?
I think the first thing that I do is I don't overtrain, and that's very important. And the second thing that I probably do is I isolate most of my body parts. So when I'm training my back, I make sure I don't use my biceps. When I'm training my chest, I try not to use my shoulders too much, things like that.
All right. Isolation brings on a beautifully symmetrical physique. Jody Friedman, congratulations, the winner of the General Nutrition Center's Symmetry Award.
We continue the middleweight competition with Vicki Gates from Dallas, Texas. Vicki ran track at Oklahoma State University a long time ago, back in 1980. She was a 100 and 200 meter specialist there and started her weight training there. It has certainly carried over now to where she is one of the best amateur bodybuilders in the country. Her first competition right down the road from Stillwater, Oklahoma, and Tulsa, Oklahoma, and it was there she said that it told her she had kind of a knack for this, a special talent, and she wanted to pursue it, Carla.
This is the sharpest I've ever seen Vicki Gates. She's had a fabulous year, too. She just won the USA, her weight class, and now she's coming into this looking to rock the Nationals.
Said she had problems with the sweep in her legs, and again, that's talking about the muscle as it develops on down the leg, from the hip on down to the knee, and really worked hard on that and tried to improve that coming into the competition.
Well, in this pose right here, you can see from the back, she looks like another of my favorite and her favorite bodybuilders, the professional three-time Miss Olympia, Lenda Murray. She has Lenda's same sweep from the shoulder girth down to the waistline, and she looks polished.
She has a 6-year-old daughter by the name of Lenda who is a constant companion with her, even goes to the gym and helps mom work out, she says, and keeps a close eye on what's happening there. But as you said, she has come into this competition really ripped.
I'll tell you, keeping the kids around and the weight training is a good way to get them started in their physical fitness early.
With the 6-year-old, probably that's her aerobic activity right there, is chasing that little one around the house. But Vicki Gates really looking sharp coming into this competition and has pointed toward this event for a long time. Pam Washer, our next competitor in the middleweight class. Pam says she feeds off how she looks and just loves the way that she looks in the mirror.
The better I look, the more I keep going. It's easier on the diet. You know, every day you look in the mirror, the better you get. The easier it is the diet, the easier it is to eat that chicken and potato.
Chicken and potato. If there's a staple of bodybuilding, it is boiled or broiled chicken, either way, and that baked potato.
Yeah, and the substitute for the potato is rice. So it's either chicken and rice or chicken and potato. Yeah.
You really splurge, you have the rice, and then you flip over and have the other.
Oh, and you get really creative. You start adding a little non-fat milk to the rice, and that's rice pudding.
Oh, stop it. You're killing me. Looking at Pam Washer now with her routine. She was 4th at the Junior Nationals back in 1989 and began bodybuilding and seriously training, she says, 7 years ago. So from 7 years to 89, she made vast improvement and then continues to develop.
Yeah, and you know, people don't realize how much time it takes to put that muscle on your body. You say to yourself, well, I want to change, you know, 5 or 6 pounds up and down between a competition. It's not that easy. If you put the weight on, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to sharpen it up.
One of Pam's hobbies is scuba diving. She says she has her license for that. The problem being, though, she has no time to pursue it. Has never been scuba diving anywhere that she really wants to go because she is so seriously involved with bodybuilding. But there's Pam Washer. Let's take a look now at the finishers in the middleweight competition. In 5th place, it was Rachel Mathias walking away with those honors tonight. 4th place goes to Dr. Mauro Pachakjian of East Rutherford, New Jersey. In 3rd place, Pam Washer from Oakland, Illinois. Our runner-up in the middleweight competition, Jody Friedman of Venice, California. And the winner of the middleweight class tonight, Vicki Gates of Dallas, Texas. She now joins Rick Valente backstage. Rick?
I'm with the middleweight winner, Vicki Gates. What a beautiful performance. What's next for you?
I'm just going to take a little time off and spend with my daughter and just rest a little bit and decide what show I'm going to decide to do, come up with.
What about the pose down?
I'm about ready for that. It's going to be tough, but I'll be ready. I'll be ready for him.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Back to John and Carla.
Thank you very much, Rick. And coming up next, the last leg of the competition, the heavyweights, as we continue the Women's NPC Nationals.
Tonight
Back to the Broward County Convention Center here at the 1993 Women's NPC National Bodybuilding Championships. I'm John Walls with Carla Dunlap. And Carla, so far we have seen 2 champions crowned. Sue Price is the lightweight, Vicki Gates is the middleweight. And your reaction to the crownings?
Sue Price really interests me because Sue Price started out being very thin. She put the weight on, and normally when a person puts that weight on, it takes them a little time to dial in their sharpness. Sue put that weight on and just looks fabulous. Vicki has tried and tried. She's one of our veterans. She finally got it all together. She has been hot this year, so I look forward to the pose down.
Coming up, the heavyweight competition. Before we get to the pose down, of course, you look at Etta Shields, a 2-time runner-up here at the national championships.
Etta is always a perennial favorite. I saw prejudging, and I'm a little worried. She's got a lot of competition in that heavyweight class.
And let's move on to the heavyweight competition here at the National Bodybuilding Championships. And our first competitor tonight in the heavyweights will be a veteran of this competition, Etta Shields, who has a couple of consecutive runner-ups in the heavyweight class. And Etta says there's a lot of balance in her life, not only in her body, but in her life. There's a lot more to it than just bodybuilding.
I have my own business, and I have to say that I encourage bodybuilders to do something besides bodybuilding. I do diagnostic ultrasounds. I have my own company, and I work for private physicians. This enables you to have an outlet. Bodybuilding is so stressful. People think work's stressful. Well, bodybuilding, too, is stressful. So if you can combine the two, you tend to be able to relieve the stress of each. And it makes it quite easy. Plus, you're busy all the time, so you don't have time to think about eating the wrong foods.
Talk about stressful. I mean, you are certainly taking a full dose of it, and it is hard on you, not only at your work, but also at your alleged play when you go off to bodybuild, because there's so much mental pressure that goes into it.
Well, you know, bodybuilder cannot take their body off and put it away in some drawer somewhere. They have to wear their body all the time. They wear their sport on their sleeve, literally. Etta, standing and prejudging, I've seen her in better shape. She's been sharper. She looks like she's holding a little water. And she's a perennial bridesmaid, so maybe this time, you know, I've seen a couple of people in this class that'll possibly edge her out.
Very athletic, Etta Shields is. She was a high school volleyball player in Aiken, South Carolina, and had some knee problems, had some surgeries there to correct that. And how does that affect her as far as that lower body development when you know that your knees have been damaged?
You think twice about things like heavy squats. You may change your training so that you can get around working your knees at certain angles by doing leg presses, leg extensions, as opposed to concentrating on the heavy, deep squats.
Well, you saw nothing wrong with the upper body there. They have very impressive moves there on the stage for Etta.
She's in good shape, but I don't think she's in good enough shape to take this class. She always comes in, she's got great symmetry. You can see right here in her back shot that her upper body is just outstanding, but her glutes are a little soft and her thighs are not as separated.
She says the muscular look of the late 80s just was not good for her. That just was not conducive to her body frame.
Well, I've got news for her. They're going big time now.
They're headed in that direction, so you better bulk up or you're going to have to take a serious step in another direction. YVONNE VAZQUEZ, also a competitor tonight in the heavyweight class. YVONNE began bodybuilding 8 years ago. She joined the gym and then went out and bought it. So a very unusual way of going about it, but she has certainly taken that to stride and is performing here tonight and has a great opportunity to win the competition here. YVONNE VAZQUEZ from Miami, Florida.
YVONNE is trained by Jillian Hodges-Surratt, who is a professional bodybuilder and known for her posing, and she helped YVONNE. I talked to her. She helped YVONNE with her presentation. Very smooth, very lyrical presentation for someone with the kind of muscle that VAZQUEZ has.
You talk about posing. It is something that has not come naturally to YVONNE. She says she feels very self-conscious when she was out on the stage, and it's something she's had to get over. How difficult is that, knowing that all those people are staring at your body?
You ever talk to people that hate public speaking? Well, this is even worse. You've got on less than a yard of fabric, and you're out there trying to present it to the judges, but you've got to forget about the people out in the audience if you're afraid of being out there on the stage. However, there are bodybuilders that absolutely live off of what the audience gives them in energy. And I hope that she'll learn how to do this because she has a fabulous physique.
Is it something that is acquired? Can you develop a, I don't know if it's a fondness for it or an affection for the posing and what have you, but can you get over it, as apparently Yvonne has, because her presentations, you can see, starting to develop a little character to it?
Yeah, you can get over it. If you work at it, you can. If you practice it when you're practicing everything else, getting ready for a competition, it becomes automatic. But if you don't practice it, don't expect it to happen when you get on stage. Don't expect to be able to feel comfortable if you step out on stage if you haven't practiced it.
It's also the aspect of bodybuilding that those outside of the sport think the least about, because you think of all the long hours in the gym and the hard work, and then the posing you think almost comes naturally, but that is not the case, because there's a certain way you have to present yourself, and you have to develop that rapport with the audience and with the judges. Very, very important that you establish contact with them and let them know that you're very, very much alive and in the competition. Let's now go backstage to Carla.
The Twin Lab Sportsmanship Award will be presented by Neil Bleckman, Vice President. Neil, what's the criteria for this award?
The criteria, Carla, are several. First, the athlete ought to exemplify the very best in bodybuilding. This person ought to be able to share her experiences and knowledge with the other athletes. She ought to convey a good personality and be supportive of everyone else. And I think these are the criteria that are best exemplify the winner of the Sportsmanship Award.
Okay, great attitude, and let's see who that winner is. Let's bring in Michelle Relabate.
Michelle, congratulations. On behalf of Twin Lab, it gives me great pleasure to present to you the NPC Sportsmanship Award. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I'd like to say that this has been a great achievement for me again, and being a gymnast for 16 years has taught me a lot of discipline, control, dedication, and to strive to be the best. I'd like to thank my support group in Indiana, Pennsylvania at JT's gym, and Dad for coming down here to see me, and special thanks goes out to my boyfriend, Brian Amendola, for helping me achieve my goals. Thank you.
Congratulations again to Michelle Relabate, the winner of the Twin Lab Sportsmanship Award.
Congratulations indeed to Michelle Relabate. And when we continue, the rest of the heavyweights at the Women's NPC Nationals. Welcome back to the 1993 Women's NPC National Bodybuilding Championships here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Our next competitor in the class is Roseanne Kaiser from Orlando, Florida. And Roseanne comes in, Carla, in tremendous condition, does she not?
Yeah, she's very full muscularity. She has great separation throughout her upper body, meaning that her muscles through her shoulders, her chest, her upper back, all are very defined. I found, though, that she didn't quite know how to flex her quads, and that's critical because you can have the muscularity, but if you don't know how to flex it so that it shows, you might as well not have it at all.
Now explain that to me, if you would. When you say she doesn't know how to flex the quads, ways that you can accentuate certain muscles, and maybe that's what she needs to work on a little bit?
Yeah, you can see that her physique is hard. You can see that her skin is very thin. She's very vascular. She has the separation in her quadriceps. But when she turns and does some of her front shots, you don't quite see. There you can see down in the left corner of your screen, you don't quite see the depth of the separation in the front of her quadriceps.
Roseanne Kaiser, she's a personal trainer, as are many of the bodybuilders who can spend time working out and also maintaining condition, and aerobically that's a concern. We've talked a little bit about prejudging here during the competition. Explain that, if you would. This isn't the only competition the women have here over the course of the weekend.
Right. The posing that we're seeing now is done basically for your evening competitors, and it's their way of showing the audience. It's their showtime. In the morning, though, or possibly the night before, there is a critical time taken to do 3 rounds of competition. 1 is muscularity, 2 is symmetry, where they look at the shape of the body, and 3, 1-minute posing routine done to their own music.
Very, very important, too. And while we do see, as you said, this is the showcase time of the show where they can go out and perform, the competitors we're talking about now can go out and perform before the audience and the judges. All the damage or all the good work has been done prior to this. And this is really for show for the most part until we get to the pose down, of course, which is for all the marbles. Next up, Susan Kaminga here in the heavyweight competition. Susan is from Texas, and she's already competed earlier this year in a big meet, and it taught her some valuable lessons that she's putting into practice here in Fort Lauderdale.
I last competed at the Junior USA in Colorado. I got 3rd in the heavyweight. I should have been probably a little bit tighter, and I learned a lot from that contest, and I cut out a lot of the carbs. I didn't have carbs for about 4 weeks before this show, and it helped a lot. It really helped a lot.
Dieting so important, not only for Susan Kaminga, but for all the bodybuilders. And she says she loves the diet because she likes to splurge after she has really restricted her intake for calories and what have you. And I know you and cream, you talk about that every once in a while, so I think you could relate to that.
The current favorite on my list is tiramisu. But let's look at something even more important. Susan's having a great time on stage. You've seen the routines up till now. They're kind of pedestrian. One of the things missing in bodybuilding right now is excitement in the routines. Everybody concentrates so hard on showing their muscle, they forget to have a good time, like a backflip.
Well, you say that the pedestrian side of it, I think it's because their concentration and their focus is so that they're worried about hitting their best. Not worried about it or thinking about having fun like Susan obviously does. And you can just see it in her presentation. The looks on her face and the smiles and, of course, the way she relates to the crowd.
But you know, John, that's one thing, especially in the amateurs, that you have to remember. You have done the meat and potatoes work in prejudging. They have judged you already. They've pretty much placed you except for the pose downs. Have some fun with this. Treat the audience. That's what this posing is for.
Of course, the meat is chicken. Has to be chicken. You've had the chicken and potatoes here.
And rice. Don't forget the rice.
Susan has some gymnastics in her back. She has taught aerobics at one point, and certainly that comes into play here, and it gets her in good cardiovascular shape for that routine, and you can see she really applies that tremendous shape that she's in. Susan Kaminga, a wonderful, wonderful effort there. Let's now hear from Rick Valenti.
Hello.
Well, that was incredible.
Thank you. That was fun. I had a good time.
Well, what about the decision now and the overall condition? Tell me about it.
Well, it all depends on what they want now. I have no idea. I heard a million different things. I've been placed first, second, third, fourth, fifth, who knows.
You know what? You look incredible, and it looks like you had a lot of fun.
Thank you.
And the audience enjoyed it.
I had a blast.
Up next in the heavyweight competition, Anne-Marie Crooks from North Lauderdale, Florida. So right here in her own backyard, Anne-Marie is having a chance to compete for the national championship.
Her trainer kept coming up to me and saying, have you seen Anne-Marie? Have you seen Anne-Marie? Well, I'm not familiar with her. She's a new face to me. But she stood out. She's 6 feet tall and coming in as the heaviest heavyweight at 103.5 pounds. That's a big woman.
And it's a big difference between you take a competitor such as Susan Kaminga, who was about 143, 144. Now you're looking at a competitor who's 40 pounds heavier. How much does that play into the judge's decision or their interpretation of her body?
You know, someone with her weight really overpowers someone like a Susan Kaminga. We're really trying to push to get another weight class. There used to be 4 weight classes for the women, the light heavyweights. They dropped that out because of international competition, because the internationals were only doing the 3 weight classes. So we came back to 3. But it's unfair when someone outweighs you by 40 pounds to stand shoulder to shoulder with them.
You're taking a look at Anne-Marie. Has one of the more unusual hobbies. She collects snakes. Has a 5-foot ball python at home and a 10-foot Burmese python that she keeps at home as well, and says it's a good thing that, you know, her boyfriend kind of likes the snakes too, and they can have them around the house.
Yeah, kind of like having your own main squeeze around with those pythons.
She's a native of Kingston, Jamaica, and started bodybuilding 8 years ago in the Air Force and absolutely hated it. She's too difficult, too much stress on her body, but I think she's kind of learned to like it a little bit. Let's take a look now as Anne-Marie Crooks finishes up her routine. The 5th place finisher in the heavyweight class, Susan Kaminga from Austin, Texas. In 4th place, Anne-Marie Crooks of North Lauderdale, Florida. So she has something to show for her effort here, right in her own backyard. Etta Shields, the 2-time runner-up, falls to 3rd place this year. Heavyweight competition. The runner-up, Roseanne Kaiser of Orlando, Florida. And our champion of the heavyweight class, YVONNE VAZQUEZ of Miami, who now joins Rick Valenti backstage. Rick?
Well, I'm here with the heavyweight winner, YVONNE VAZQUEZ. Well, Yvonne, you did it. Now tell me what's next for you.
My intentions are to do the Olympia this year.
Well, I'm sure you'll do real well in the Olympia. You look like you're ready for the pro ranks.
I'm going to do my best.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. Back to John and Carla.
Thank you, Rick. Coming up, Yvonne and the other 2 weight class champions get ready to compete in the all-important pose down. And now, welcome back to Fort Lauderdale. John Walls with Carla Dunlap. And before we continue with the competition, let's go backstage with Carla, who has a special guest with her. Carla?
The Weider Health and Fitness Best Poser Award is being presented by Porter Cottrell, who is a Weider professional athlete. Porter, I've always wanted to know Grand Prix circuit, but it's week after week of competition. How do you survive that?
Surviving a Grand Prix circuit, it just entails of a lot of discipline, hard work, and most importantly, just good old-fashioned luck.
Ooh. Well, speaking of luck, let's bring in the winner of the Weider Best Poser Award, Susan Kaminga. Hello.
Hello. Susan, on behalf of the Weider organization, I'd like to present you with this Best Poser Award, and it states in recognition of your efforts at the 1993 NPC Women's National Bodybuilding Championship.
Thank you very much. This is a big honor. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Susan, I was watching your posing routine tonight, and of all of the posing routines, you just made the house wake up and just, they flew off the handle. They were clapping and everything, and you looked like you were really into it.
I had a ball. I had so much fun out there. They seemed a little quiet when everybody else went out there, and I wanted to wake them up.
Yeah, well, you absolutely did that. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Susan Kaminga, the winner of the Weider Health and Fitness Best Poser Award.
These ladies, of course, vying for the opportunity to move on to the professional ranks, and a young lady who has already done that is now backstage with Rick Valenti. Rick?
Tell us about the Miss Olympia this year.
Well, I'm going to win, for sure.
Okay.
Last year, it was very close between me and Linda Murray, and every year, I always want to be a better Laura. Yes, I want to beat Linda, but I have to be a better me to do that also. And this year, I feel I have the package. Every year, my upper body improves. Linda has very big delts. My delts are a lot bigger this year. My traps are a lot bigger. And I'm always in very good condition, and I'm going to be in even better condition. So I think Linda's run her course. It's my time now.
It's time now for these ladies, though, to get it on with the pose down. And we'll continue with the final round of competition in a moment.
So my wife got her.
We're back at the Broward County Convention Center here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. John Walls with Carla Dunlap at the 1993 Women's NPC National Bodybuilding Championships. And looking back at our weight class winners, Sue Price from Redondo Beach, California, was the winner of the lightweight competition. The middleweight champion, Vicki Gates from Dallas, Texas, and also involved tonight in the all-important pose down to win the overall championship, YVONNE VAZQUEZ of Miami, Florida. Again, she was our heavyweight champion. Now it's time for the ladies to take the stage in the pose down. And again, this is the all-important time. It's what they love. It's certainly what they strive for. Everybody wants to take part in the pose down. But the audience, this is their moment. This is really their time to get really involved in the show. And, of course, the judges have their first opportunity to see their three weight classes together, see the winners of those classes.
Right. What we haven't seen is that the judges have already taken these women through compulsory poses, 5 poses all the way around, and then they let them loose. They allow the women to do their own kind of a free posing so that they can show their best shots, and they can give a last look, so the judges will make a decision now and hand it up to the stage.
I don't know exactly how you would describe the posing as we're watching it here in the pose down, but they're being very nice to one another. And on some occasions, on some shows, you see one lady might bump in front of the other and try to get a little more attention maybe to her best shot or to her triceps or do something just to kind of let her, hey, look at my part here. I've got a little bit more to show than she does, but they're being awfully genteel, aren't they?
They're being very polite. It's unusual, though, to see that they're just so kind of laid back in this, because this is where you want to be aggressive. You want to get out there. You want to show that I'm ready to win this. I want the title of 1993 national champion.
Because there are only 3 classes as opposed to the men where there are 5, the men's bantamweight, it seems, has a very difficult time matching up with the heavyweight. Well, how does the women's lightweight match up with the heavyweight here as far as being overwhelmed?
I'll tell you, she's not overwhelmed at all. She has got some of the best separation on that stage, so I don't think Sue Price has anything to worry about.
The pose down now, and it's time for the judges to render their decision as to who will be the overall champion here at the Women's NPC Nationals. Again, Sue Price on the left, Vicki Gates, the middleweight champion, is in the middle, and YVONNE VAZQUEZ on the right, the heavyweight champion. Let's listen in now as they announce the winner of the 1993 Women's NPC National Overall Championship.
1993 NPC Overall Bodybuilding Champion Trophy 2. Listed as a lightweight.
Sue Price, the lightweight, walking away tonight with the overall championship as Vicki Gates congratulates her. And on the stage joining them will be Neil and Steve Bleckman from Twin Lab, Gene Behage from General Nutrition Centers, and Sandy Rinaldi, the NPC chairperson. But as you said, Carla, Sue Price certainly brought a lot to this show, and as exhibited by the championship here. So Sue Price is our overall champion. She now joins Rick Valente backstage. He has a word with the #1 performer at the show.
All right, I'm waiting for the overall winner, Sue Price. Here she comes. All right, talk to me now.
Oh my God. I
Can't
believe it.
Here, let me help you with this.
It's really heavy.
Okay, now I know you're going to rest, you're going to eat, you're going to sit down, and then you're going to think about what's next. What is next?
I don't know. Just go on from here.
Anybody you want to thank right now?
Everybody.
All right.
I want to thank my husband, Dave, and my training partner. This is cool.
Well, good. Let it go.
Everybody. My parents, and just everybody. It's cool.
Well, you look incredible. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Back to Carla and John.
Certainly an emotional moment as a dream comes true for Sue Price, our 1993 overall NPC Women's National Champion. Welcome back to the Broward County Convention Center here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. John Walls with and Carla. Sue Price walking away, the lightweight, with the overall championship.
It's rare that a lightweight wins, but for Sue, it's a vindication of her 5th place placing last year at the Nationals. This year, she put a little more weight on, softened just a tad, and she came in and won the entire competition.
As you said, a little bit rare. It's difficult at times for the lightweights to go in against the middleweights and the heavyweights and steal the judges' attention, but Sue Price was able to get that done here.
Oh, yeah. A lightweight is at a disadvantage because of her height and because of her size. So for Sue to win, she had that nice size and detail. It tells all lightweights that there is hope.
Hope indeed. Sue Price, as you see, the last look at our 1993 NPC Women's National Bodybuilding overall champion, Sue Price, walking away with a big trophy here in Fort Lauderdale. For Rick Valente and Carla Dunlap, I'm John Walls. Thanks so much for watching. The 1993 Women's NPC Nationals has been brought to you by Twin Lab. Look for Twin Lab bodybuilding fuels at fine health food stores and gyms. And by Schwinn Cycling and Fitness Incorporated, premier distributor of a full line of quality fitness products. The 1993 Women's NPC Nationals has been produced by High Bar Productions.